Hey folks, this is AJ Croce, and you're watching 101.9 KINK Radio at the Skype Live Studio.
Oh, thanks for doing this with us this afternoon.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks.
It is an honor to meet you for the first time after playing your music for 20 years, man.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, and we were celebrating my birthday, my 21st birthday, just this last Saturday. Shush, shush. And I didn't get to go see you at the Burke, my good friend Mike and Wendy's place. Tell me, describe the vibe that you got from that place.
Oh, it's great. I got there a couple days early, and it's a one-horse town. I don't even know if they've got a horse. I think the horse ran away. It's just a tiny little speck on the map. But this roadhouse is so beautiful, and the people that run it are so good. And if you ever have a chance and you're up in that part of the country, it's just absolutely gorgeous, and the sound was amazing. So it's really worth seeing a show there.
Now, you said you got there a couple days, so were you able to use one of those commune rooms?
You know what? I got there. We sort of passed by. My wife and I were driving. I was playing up in Seattle before, and the band left, and we just had a couple days off, and ended up passing by that place because we kind of wanted to scope it out, and we're like, oh God,
right?
What are we dealing with here? And then, so we went to Astoria. We spent a couple days there. It was gorgeous. And then back to the venue. We stayed the night there, and it was so cool. And it was so different than what I expected. And you walk in, it's much bigger than it looks from the road, and it's just great.
Yeah,
I loved it.
So is Marlo out on the road with you then?
Yeah, my wife's out with me. Yeah, she drives. You don't want me driving.
And how are the kids? The kids going well?
Yeah, they're grown and gone. Thank God.
Did your music filter into their lives, or did they stay away from music?
As little as possible for
really?
them. I think they have some place in their heart for it. There's a nostalgic thing about it. Oh, that's my dad playing. But I think my son is really into older music, and so he appreciates where it comes from, and my daughter is she's more into modern music, but she's also has the ear for the old stuff, and she knows all the lyrics to every Sam Cooke song too. Good. So that's good.
Excellent. All right. Well, the reissuing of "That's Me at the Bar."
Yes.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah, 21 now, so the record can
That's right,
actually
it
go
came
out
out.
and grab a drink.
Oh, very.
It's a song of drinking songs, album of drinking songs that can
I loved
stand
it.
on its own.
Why the reissue? Was it your idea, or was it Compass?
No, I think it was the fans really dug that record, and so it got reissued. It was like one of those sleepers. It hung on and it sold for a number of years, and it did pretty well. I mean, I can't complain. It was one of those things where people got into it, and it got played all over the world, and I didn't realize it. But people loved it, and so I was happy to release anything people liked.
20 years later, you as you are now, you got anything to say to that 20-year-old or that 24-year-old something or other that was putting out that album at that time? Were you naive with music? Did you know through your mother, through the history of your father? Was it what would you say to that kid, I guess?
I don't know. I think, there's not much I would have changed with the way that I did stuff. I had an opportunity as the son of a famous musician to go out and capitalize on that, and I probably could have gotten, pretty rich and maybe famous, but I would have compromised a great deal of my... and then I sort of got over the stigma of it when I became an adult. I was in my 30s, and I was listening to this old recording of my dad sitting at the kitchen table. He was just playing other people's stuff, Pink Anderson, Fats Waller, Bessie Smith, Merle Haggard song. It was around 1967. And I heard all of these songs that we had in common. We really had. We were playing the same songs. It wasn't like Ain't Misbehavin' from Fats Waller's. It was like You're Not the Only Oyster in the Stew. It was like these really oddball choices. Mississippi John Hurt. All these things that I played since I was a teenager. Never knew he had done the same. And I found this connection with my father and his music that I never had before. Since that time, I guess starting last year, I've done these 2 generations of Croce music concerts, and it's been really fun because I get to play a bunch of his stuff, a bunch of my stuff, and then the stuff that really connects us.
And that's been playing on PBS quite a bit too, if
Yeah.
you want to check that out. So let's talk about the latest music, 12 Tales. Not the easiest way to make an album, is it?
It was one of the harder records. Me and the Bar was without a doubt, it was the hardest record to make. But that was for different reasons. This one was logistically the most challenging record. 12 Tales was my last studio album, and I went around the country with a bunch of songs, about 6 legendary producers. So each producer took 2 songs, so that's a 45. Each one got a 45, and they got to choose which side was the A side or the B side, or if they were both A sides, and or B sides, and they said, and that's how it went. So I started off in Nashville with an old friend, Cowboy Jack Clement, who was a staff producer at Sun Records and produced Elvis and Carl Perkins and Johnny Cash for 50 years. Went down to, then I went to the East Coast and worked with Kevin Killen, totally different kind of producer, worked with more contemporary sort of musicians who played with Bowie and played with a bunch of different kinds of folks. And he's known for working with Elvis Costello for 30 years. And then I went to New Orleans and I worked with Alan Toussaint, and that was a thrill because he's one of my heroes, and I've learned so much from him over the years and played with him a number of times. And then out to LA to work with Mitchell Froom and Tony Berg. And I finished it off with a guy who I started my very first record with, which you heard, which was a guy named Greg Cohen. And Greg Cohen was someone who had worked with Tom Waits and with Ornette Coleman, and it was a thrill. It was really, really hard to make, and I was releasing 1 single a month online. So iTunes had a new one every month, and it was really hard. Some days I would finish, all of the sessions were fast and recorded live. Sometimes I'd overdub the vocals if they couldn't get a good separation between me and these mics on the piano and or the guitar. And so in that case, it was I would record on Thursday and Friday. It'd get mixed on Friday or Saturday and mastered on Saturday. And by Monday, the record was up and out. It was like 1950s or something.
Yeah, and we've got both the reissue and the new 12 Tales up here that he'd love to send or sell you one and sign one as well, right? We'd probably get that going.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the new music, because I heard rumors that you're going to be working with Dan Penn on this new one.
Yeah, Dan and I started writing a few months back, and I was a huge fan. I was so many songs, The Letter for the Box Tops, and so much. I really admired him for it. And he had been a staff producer at Muscle Shoals and in Memphis. We just hit it off. Want me to play something we wrote?
I'd love to do that.
Okay. You have to imagine the Muscle Shoals horns are playing with me. David Hood's on bass.
Well, you want to get back into the music? We'll just give the audience back to you.
Yeah.
Let's
Is that
do
cool?
that. Guys, AJ Croce.